Have you ever stood on a golf course early in the morning, looking at the dew still on the grass and asked yourself, "I've lived half my life. Is it worth starting over again?" You imagine a new love, a companion, a warm dinner, but deep down, you ask yourself again, if that brings me new troubles, losing the freedom I just regained, losing the peace of each morning, is it worth it? I want to tell you the story of Mark, a 65-year-old man I met on a cross-country road trip. He wasn't the kind of lonely guy who sits watching TV all day. On the contrary, he bought a small RV, roamed the West, played golf, fished, made friends along the way. One day, he met a woman who was also traveling solo. They fell in love, got married, and it seemed like a happy ending. But 3 years later, he sold the RV, missed out on the journeys he loved, and their relationship fell apart. Mark sat in front of a campfire in a forest in Oregon and told me, "I don't regret falling in love again, but I wish I had prepared better so I wouldn't have to give up my own life." Today, I want to share with you what Mark wished he knew before stepping into a second marriage. No sugarcoating, no pessimism. Just an honest look at the truth that few dare to speak, so you can keep your happiness without losing what you've worked so hard to build. And before we talk about the cost, let's look at the big picture. Why do men after 60, even with freedom, still choose to love again? You might not expect it, but the numbers in the US tell a very different story. In the past 20 years, the rate of men remarrying after age 55 has increased by nearly half. This means that in a small bar in Florida or on a golf course in Arizona, you'll see many men like you, gray hair, calm smile, starting over with someone new. Not necessarily because they're lonely, but because they feel their life isn't over. They want to share a motorcycle ride along Route 66, want someone to grill with in the backyard on a Saturday night. Many men I've met say they're not looking for a perfect marriage. They just want the feeling of having a home, someone who asks, "How was your day?" when they come back. At this age, simple care can be more valuable than intense passion. And many believe this is a way to extend life, to stay optimistic. But society has changed too. Women today are more independent, have jobs, have choices, and they're not afraid to leave a relationship that doesn't fit. Laws have also changed to protect the vulnerable in marriage, which brings balance but also makes every decision more serious. A divorced man once told me, "I don't regret loving, but the second time I need to be sure that she and I really understand each other, not just run away from emptiness." When you look at this picture, you'll see you're not alone. There's a whole generation of men going through the same crossroads. They are brave, they want to love, but they're also learning to hold on to the rest of their lives in a way that makes them proud. And the important thing is, before you decide to move forward, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, are you ready to face everything that comes with a new marriage, both the joy and the challenges? This is the part many people skip, and it's also the most important part we're about to explore together. When you enter a new relationship at this age, the price you pay isn't just on paper, it creeps into every daily moment. I remember a conversation with Tom, a 62-year-old man who lived simply in a small house by Lake Michigan. Tom used to pride himself on needing just a cup of coffee, a kayak, and the calm lake each morning. But when he remarried, that rhythm changed completely. The once quiet house was now filled with new belongings, and the evening TV no longer turned off at 9 p.m. It might sound trivial, but for Tom, it was the feeling that he was gradually losing the space of freedom he had preserved for years. Financially, many don't realize the impact until it's too late. It's not just about sharing assets, but also adjusting retirement plans, insurance, even inheritance for children. A friend told me he had to sell his beloved sailboat to cover the cost of rebuilding the backyard the way his new wife wanted. He laughed when he said it, but I saw a hint of regret in his eyes. Emotionally, this might be the biggest challenge. When you enter a new family, you're not just loving one woman, you're entering her whole world. Her children, friends, habits, expectations. The two worlds don't always blend right away. One man confided that he felt like a guest in his own home whenever his wife's children visited. This kind of conflict isn't always loud, but it wears down the sense of security he was originally seeking. Health-wise, many studies show that stress can raise blood pressure, disrupt sleep, and for older men, this is no small matter. I once saw a friend go back to sleeping pills after years of quitting, just because of the pressure of adjusting to a new life. And there's another price that few talk about: personal freedom. After years of living alone, you're used to going where you want, eating what you want. When you marry again, you have to negotiate everything, from weekend trips to how the kitchen is arranged. Some people enjoy it because it brings a sense of family, but others feel like they're starting over, having to learn to compromise every day. Sounds all negative, doesn't it? But to be fair, remarriage also has positives we can't deny, and that's the part we need to look at calmly before making a decision. Though the price to pay is sometimes not small, it's undeniable that remarriage also brings worthwhile things. I remember one afternoon in a small cafe in Santa Fe, I met Jim, a retired former engineer, 68 years old. He said that after many years living alone, he had gotten used to waking up early, hiking trails, then coming home to make coffee and read. But everything changed when he met Linda in an art pottery class. The two started going on road trips together, sharing home-cooked dinners, and Jim said that for the first time in years, the meal tasted better just because someone was sitting across from him, smiling. The first benefit you'll feel most clearly is the presence of a companion. From age 60 onward, you realize joy no longer lies in grand things but in small moments. A hand touch during a movie, someone reminding you to take your medicine, or planning a short trip together. That feeling brings you back to youth, but with the calm and experience that age provides. Mental health is also a clear advantage if the relationship is healthy. A friend once told me he completely quit drinking beer every night just because his new wife liked doing yoga with him in the morning. This change wasn't pressure but motivation, helping him lose weight, sleep better, and feel much more energetic. Having someone willing to build new habits with you, that's a rare gift that a happy marriage brings. And the most special thing, the feeling of loving again at this age may be deeper, slower, but more enduring. You no longer love in a rush or seek validation like in your youth. You love because you truly want companionship, without the pressure of changing yourself to please anyone. Many people told me they found a new purpose in life, like replanting the backyard garden, raising a dog, or learning a new language together to prepare for a trip to Europe. Those little things light up the rest of life, making them feel like they're living, not just existing. So how do you enjoy all those good things without having to trade too much? This is the important part, the thing most men wish they knew before deciding to enter a second marriage. When you're facing the decision to remarry, the first thing to do isn't choosing a ring or booking a party, but asking yourself, what do I really want from this relationship? Is it love or just the fear of being alone? I once met a man in Texas named Paul who spent 6 months living alone in a small wooden cabin to reflect before marrying a second time. He said that time helped him distinguish between real emotional needs and just the habit of wanting someone nearby. Once you're clear about your desires, the next step is practical preparation. Finances are a sensitive part, but need to be transparent from the beginning. A friend of mine hired a lawyer to draft a prenuptial agreement, not because of a lack of trust, but because he wanted both sides to feel safe and fair. This approach helped them avoid future stress and focus on building the relationship. Then comes the conversation with your children. This isn't about asking for permission, but helping them understand your choice so they don't feel left out of the family. A father once shared with me that a straightforward dinner talk with his 2 sons turned them from opposers into supporters. They even helped him prepare a small outdoor wedding. You also need to give yourself enough time to truly understand who the other person is, not just during short trips, but also in everyday moments when there's pressure or fatigue. A lasting relationship must withstand rainy mornings when no one feels like getting out of bed. And finally, make sure you've built your own emotional independence and physical health before entering a new relationship. Regular exercise, taking care of your sleep, and having a rich life outside of love, that's how you stay balanced and avoid placing the entire weight of happiness on the other person. And now, let me say the most important thing before you make your decision. And in the end, what I want you to remember is this: remarriage isn't wrong. It only becomes risky when you enter it without truly understanding what you're looking for. You deserve a companion, someone to walk with you on the beach at sunset, someone to laugh with you when the barbecue burns in the yard, and someone to sit with you on the porch on a rainy afternoon. But make sure that happiness doesn't come at the cost of the peace you worked so hard to build. Picture yourself sitting in your favorite coffee shop in a small town, a hot morning coffee in hand, looking around and seeing couples your age, chatting and laughing. You smile, not out of jealousy, but because you understand you have a choice. You can love, but this time you love with open eyes, a clear heart, and respect for yourself. A man once told me, "The first time I married, I loved with all my heart. The second time, I loved with both my heart and my mind." And maybe that's the most important message. Love after 60 can be a new chapter, but that chapter should be written with maturity and calm. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to be sure you truly want to share the rest of your life, not just fill a void. If you're watching this video, maybe you're at your own crossroads. Give yourself time to think. And if you feel today's sharing spoke to you, leave your story in the comments, because many other men may find connection in it. If you want to keep hearing stories like this, don't forget to follow the channel, like the video, and share it with a friend who might also be considering a new journey. Who knows, what you share today might help someone avoid a mistake and find the happiness they deserve. Let this be a gentle reminder that you are not alone. You have the right to love again, the right to be happy again, but this time, let that happiness truly be yours, not a trade-off you'll regret. And when you're ready, move forward with the smile of a man who knows exactly where he's going. And thank you for watching until the end of the video. If you found this video valuable, please leave your comment below and share it with others. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get the latest updates. Goodbye and see you again.